Alrighty, well, it's time for more wisdom. I am so blessed to work every day with our top 10. And the reason that I love doing it is that they bring, I suppose, whatever it is, concerns, ideas, everything to the table that we can talk about. It's very much a collaboration between what we get to roll out each week or each month for you. We've sat down around the table, virtually at the moment, to be able to brainstorm. So I've asked them to kind of come together. Now, two, of course, you heard from last night, Natalie and Mark, okay, Western Australia and Sydney. But the top 8 have actually come together live today to be able to share some wisdom with you. So Shani Thompson, Lorian Cameron, as you hear your leader's name, put some love into the chat there. Anthony Gollet, Kate Gollet, Kira Love, Brian Marsh, and Adam Westwick. And the beautiful Linda Evenden is actually going to host this panel today. So please give it up for this amazing panel who's going to talk about creating our future with commitment. Over to you guys.
Hello and welcome to the PMD Star panel. I'm super excited to host this because when I look around at these guys, there is so much passion, heart, conviction, determination, doggedness. There are so many beautiful values when I look at what it really takes to create a business of epic proportions. More than anything, there is so much heart up here. So we are really excited to talk with you guys today about the importance of commitment and consistency. And they're not that glamorous. When I was thinking about this, I'm like, oh, commitment and consistency, it's not that glamorous. Can't we find something better? But honestly, when I really delve into this, it's the most important fuel that is going to carry you through all of the way to realize every one of your dreams. It really is commitment and it really is consistency. And so when I think about what I'm committed for, knowing what I really wanted at the start was one of the most important things. And when I met this guy, Adam Westwick, who is going to talk to us about finding what you really want and going after it, knowing what you want and really going after it, I couldn't think of anyone better because right from the start, you were so incredibly determined about this as a business and I'm here to realize my dreams. There was a lot of pain for you and you took this as one of the ways out that you could really make this a go. And I mean, you set the world on fire and we've learnt so much on the way. Can you talk with us about finding what you really want and creating the dollars around that? We love when you speak about that.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Linda. It's good to be with all the crew again. It's been a while since we've all been able to hang out. It's good to be able to still do conference even though it's like this in the new 2020 age. But I think one of the things I thought about was the word commitment, and commitment can be a scary word for a lot of people. And so I did a little bit of research like I do every time I get on stage. And one of the things, I was surprised by even the meaning of what commitment means and why it might not be the sexiest word. And, you know, we come into this because we want to create some sort of freedom in our life, whether it be financial freedom or time freedom. But commitment, the meaning of commitment is engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. And so I really, you know, it can be very conflicting that we really make a commitment to want to be successful here. But certainly, you know, even my story along the way and why I become so passionate about really the money behind our business is because, you know, I came into this business, I was a traditional business owner, you know, and it robbed me of my life. You know, I barely saw my family. I worked 60, 70 hours a week. And for me, I definitely got to a stage in my life where there has to be a better way. And I think we all know with social media and word of mouth and really how most of us come across things these days, that this kind of made a little bit of sense, although I was quite resistant in the beginning, as you know, 3 years to finally come back and have a look. But I think early on, I really knew what I needed to do to be able to create my reality, to get out of this traditional business that I had a certain figure. So, I talk a lot about what does that actually need to look like to create what you're looking for. If you want to turn this into a part-time income, if you want to be a stay-at-home mum, if you want to even just create a little bit extra income, what is it that really you want? And I think as a personal trainer and being exposed to the world of Tony Robbins talks about it a lot, is that human behavior is driven by avoiding pain or gaining pleasure. And so you don't have to be in pain to want to be successful here. I think you just got to want it enough and have enough clarity and vision to be able to make this a priority, to make this a commitment. And yes, you've got to give up some things to be successful, but it's to create long-term freedom in the future. And if you remember early on in our days, I certainly had a number in my head, and my business got to a certain point and it wasn't what I thought I'd be earning. And if any of you guys are out there have had those months where you felt like you might have earned more, I had a dummy spit, and Linda was an amazing upline for me. And I really realised that, in that moment, I had to take responsibility for my own business and understand how we get paid better, and that's something I'm really passionate about sharing with others.
That was a really key moment, right? Because then that empowered you to go delve into the numbers, and once you understood them, your excitement level and commitment level raised the roof, and you never looked back from there because you treated it like a business every single day following that. And everyone that knows you saw you carrying a report around with a highlighter. And your book underlining, and Adam is such a great example of live for the numbers to change people's lives. So that's incredible wisdom there, thank you. And Katie, when I think about you and your game on shirt that you get, once you get really committed on something, it's going to happen. And I think, when we were talking about what you were going to cover, your passion is about no excuses, like find the way, create an epic vision, and then there just can be no excuses. Can you talk to that about us?
I'd love to. Well, I think I caught the vision of what this could create for us and our family 8 weeks into the journey, and I'm so grateful that you held the space for us to say, just come to conference. And it was not convenient. It was on the other side of the world and handling, kids and babysitters and taking care of business while we're away. But I caught a vision in that moment and saw, just like we've heard beautiful stories today, of people that just were incredibly big-hearted people that dreamed big and they didn't give up. Yeah. And so that happened for me so early in the journey that I immediately stopped looking at where I was right now and all the hard stuff that was going on, and I caught a vision for what I wanted to create for our family. And so that was the thing that I've been consistent holding on to. And then when that started to come more real for our family, then it's holding it on to, for everyone else, in our team and on the journey. And I think it can be so easy to look at someone who's a little further along than you and go, well, of course they're successful, of course, they've made it, they've got this skill set or this talent or whatever, but what they don't have, you have to just get deep into your spirit and really look at, well, if you're not okay with what life looks like right now, what are you going to do differently to make the future look different? And that for me was the big driver, where I was working 16-hour days in our business when we got started, and I didn't have time. We felt super disconnected as parents with our children, and I just felt like I was putting out fires everywhere. But the thing that kept me, going from 8 till midnight or beyond, because that was when I was working on my vision, is just never giving up on what I knew that this could be. And I knew that the only way I would fail is if we gave up. And, not knowing how to do it all, but being consistent and, I guess, resilient, knowing that we'll find a way, and being resourceful that if we didn't know how to do something, that we would always find someone that would. Not waiting for someone to come and rescue you. You need to create that compelling vision for your future and stay consistently looking at it, because it's so easy to look at what's going on right now and not being happy with your situation. But when you've got something to look forward to, that will pull you forward and have you take the action that often we can be scared to take, but that's the best thing of all.
I love that, and I've seen you do that time and again, to find the part where you're pulled towards it and less of the part that you don't like to find your easy. You're so great at capturing that. Shani, you're next, and I want to, when I think about you, I want my daughters to grow up to be you, first of all, a PMD star, because you're so sensible and responsible. Like, when we talked about what you were going to share, it's already around your future and your future family. You're 30 something, not even
32.
32, and she's looking to legacy. I mean, that's. I just remember nappies, you know, and not legacy. It was drowning. But honestly, it just amazes me about you, and this is the business where you can make that impact. Can you talk about your future, which is just looking so bright?
Absolutely. Well, when I was nursing before this business came into my life, I had some really key conversations with other women who were nurses and who were mums. And what I saw a lot in my career was women who would go and have maternity leave to go and have their bubbers, and then 6 months later they'd be back at home, back at work. And I always used to think, where's Bub? Who's looking after baby? And I just got so curious about what that life looked like. Obviously, I don't have children yet, and Maddie and I really do want to build a family soon. And so back then I thought, well, what if life didn't have to be like that? Is there a possibility where, you know, you could stay at home and bring up your children and not have to go back to work? And I just thought, is that a reality? Is it even possible? And then so grateful that Ant and Kate came into my life and introduced this to me, because all of a sudden I saw the possibilities of, absolutely, that could be possible. Could I do it? Maybe. I don't know. I would be lying if I said that I had the confidence that I could when I first started, but you guys did a really great vision of painting the future for me and showing me what's possible. So for me, you know, the beginning, the first few years in this business, it was consistency, showing up all the time. It was commitment. It was showing up because I knew what type of life I want to live when Matt and I finally do have a family. I know what my household looks like. I know what our days are filled with. I know what my weekends look like. And having a 9 to 5 where I'm constrained to having to go somewhere and not wanting to is absolutely not a part of that vision for me. So I'm just really excited for the future, because I know that we've been able to set ourselves up with something that I now get to be a conscious parent, a present parent when that time finally does come. But more importantly, I just want to show women out there who are mums, who are expecting, who are planning, or maybe people who are 27 years old like I was when I first started this business, and maybe a family's not in their vision just yet, but they know it's in the future. I'm just so passionate about showing them what the possibilities are, because imagine if we had an army of people who had a life like that could look after the kids from home and just live those magic moments 24/7, not just 4 weeks out of the year. So that's why I've shown up every single day, and that fire won't ever get lit out.
Yes, I love that. And you asked such a great question there of what if it could be different? That is so powerful for so many people at all different ages and stages. So 27 is when you started. You're 32 now. Mm-hmm. And Cheryl Cortese started at 45. I'm 45, so I got a good head start. It doesn't matter what age you are. It is never too early or too late to really start living and building your dream life, for sure. I love that. And Kira, you're going to cover with us, and you are such the example of this. I could look you up in the dictionary of this. And it's consistency and commitment every single day to face your fears, to do what you absolutely don't want to do, kicking and screaming inside, and the gifts that brings when you continue to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I made a commitment right from the beginning to just say yes. And I had this phrase that I would say over and over in my mind is, what would a boss babe do? Because there's no part of my identity at the time that associated with a businesswoman, and everything about this business was wildly outside my comfort zone. And so I just made that commitment to put one foot in front of the other. And whenever yourself or head office or someone asked me to do something or told me what that next step was, my commitment was just to say yes to that, because it was in the realm of my possibility. And every time I said yes, my confidence grew. And that's the thing that I would love everyone to take away from this, is that every time you say no, or every time you commit to something but then don't show up to fulfill your own promise, your confidence goes down, and then that compounds over time. But the reverse is also true. So every time you say yes and you show yourself your potential and what you're capable of, your confidence grows. And so there was such a sense of reward over time in facing my fears that I changed my relationship with facing my fears.
Yes.
Now when something scares me, I actually get excited inside, like that nervousness, that adrenaline rush, I have a positive association to it. And so now I actually chase down my fears because there's so much growth and reward on the other side. It's exhilarating who I've become, and I actually associate with a businesswoman and that identity now, and it feels so powerful and so amazing. And so, you know, I think when I joined this business, we think that our comfort zone, there's this misconception that it's comfortable. The truth is it's effing painful.
Yeah.
I had so much financial strain. I hated myself. I had no love for myself. I had no self-worth. I was so unhappy because I wasn't accessing my potential. So I actually was in pain. So even stepping out of it into fear, you're thinking that's painful, well, you're sitting in pain already. So you may as well move towards the pain that is going to bring joy and pleasure and growth and opportunity. So yeah, that was my commitment, is just say yes to being outside my comfort zone, say yes to one foot in front of the other. That's how you climb the mountain, and that's how you reshape your beliefs and your identity and who you are and who you become.
I love that. You are such a living example of that, and you speak into so many people when they're in that place of fear and pain to just do the next step.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And Lorian, this guy is just pure grit and resilience. When I look up the dictionary, and next to Lorian is grit, he will find the way to make it work. And so when we were talking about what you were going to cover, daily rituals that you literally condition and embody have completely changed your life. You've been able to change your life, so you're like the transformation king. And so when you thought about what you wanted to share more than anything, it was around the daily habits of commitment and consistency that completely changed your life. Every goal you've wanted to hit, you've smashed it here with that. What can you share about that?
Yeah, so when I think about consistency and commitment, what comes up for me is the habits, because if you don't have if you don't have it in the diary, then the chances are it's not going to happen. So I think back to, those early days when I first started, life was a little bit crazy. It wasn't a set time and a set day when, I could be completely in routine. So I think back then, the habits were that, every spare moment I kind of had, I was picking up my phone, responding to messages. I really treated this or saw myself as an entrepreneur, and had those habits. And so there were certain set times in my calendar, like after work or before work, where I would, do the high-paying activities, those sorts of things. And then as the journey progressed and I had more time and I could cut my hours back, it became more structured, I would say. These days I like to get up and work on the mindset first and get to be inspiring, you first need to be inspired. So starting the day on getting my mindset right. Let's face it, for me, over the last couple of years, we've been through a season of babies and the nappies and everything like Shani was talking about there. And so, I mean, it's been so important to have that, that rock in the morning to come back to and get the mindset right. And I think if you can adopt those habits, those key habits, and put it in the calendar, then, obviously the results are going to show, because it's all about what we do that matters most. You think about like going to the gym, right? If you don't have it in the calendar, the chances are it's not going to happen. So you need to have some sort of plan, even if life's crazy and busy and you're juggling work and your side business and family and everything else. There needs to be some key rocks in there so that you can stay consistent.
Yeah, I love that. And I've been seeing you do the lives in the morning, even just like the pram, and I love it because you're going in and you're just start with the first thing, because you can wake up and feel crazy. No sleep, out of control. Yes, there's something in the diary, but it doesn't work. And you literally take back that control. I see it on your live as you're walking the baby, getting out in sunshine and going, life is a blessing.
Yeah.
You know, you're going from, you know, disempowered to completely empowered. And I see you live these rituals. So there's no one better to really talk about that, to set up your day to win, no matter what, no matter how busy you are and what's going on.
And I know for myself, you know, I've never been thought of myself as the smartest, the quickest, the best looking, you know, all of that. But I knew that I could be consistent. You know, I knew that I could, if I kept turning up for long enough, eventually I would get good at something. And I think, you know, for everyone here, if you just keep showing up for yourself, to the trainings, to the events, to the conferences, eventually you're going to get to a level of competence, and that's when you're going to start to see the results. That unfortunately, most people quit before they get to that point. So I want to just commend everyone that's watching here for showing up and watching this tonight or today, because there's a lot of people that could be that aren't. So
Yes. That's it. Brian next, Bryza. So what I love about this guy, it's not just his jacket and his kerchief and his, what do you call those things? Yeah. Track.
Oh, the part.
Track.
I don't
Sorry,
have any
see,
more of that.
I
I'm
learn a
matured
whole
now.
new language around Bryza. His track that he always gets done right before a big occasion. And, you know, when you smashed onto the scene in the velvet jacket, the velvet smoking jacket in Melbourne conference, and you said, "You will know my name. You don't know me yet, lady, but you will know Bryza Marsh." What I observed was all the boats rise when someone comes in with an influence and an energy, and it was your dedication of, this is a business and I'm a businessman. I don't know about all you guys in the polos and the shorts. Like, he started dressing snappy and everything changed at the events. Everyone started getting tracks and haircuts and barbers, and except for Ant. And
That's why they
Ant
put us
went the
side
other
of each
way.
other.
I got mine permed.
Ant went to Borneo instead. But in all seriousness, it was your professionalism about how to talk about this business. Like, you investigated the numbers. You helped us really understand and take it very seriously to how to best describe this business so people could take it seriously and step in at another level. So can you talk to that about how to just treat it like a business? How do we be Bryza?
Got to get tracks. No, I don't have them at the moment. Just got a part. Yeah, commitment, I suppose. It was about a week or a month into the business when I was having coffee, and a neighbour of mine I saw at a coffee shop, and Keith Abraham, he's been on stage at conference, and he's a business coach, and he at the time was mentoring someone in another network marketing company that had like 1 million distributors under him in Indonesia. And I shared that we had just joined, Adam and Kira, in Juice Plus, and Keith knows Adam and Kira, and they said, well, if I can give you one piece of advice, the people that create real success in this business treat it as a business. And that was a pivotal point for me, because I've still got other businesses, but it was 20 years in those other businesses. So I loved business, just loved what it could do for families and what it could do for people. So when he said that treat it as a business, and to create real success, you needed to treat it as a business. And it brought me back to Fiona and I were looking to buy a traditional coffee shop franchise a number of years before that, and it was $350,000 just to get started. So my mindset at that point was, well, why don't I treat this business as I could get a return on the $350,000 that is if I invested that in the Juice Plus business. And it just changed the way we approached the business. It changed the way we showed up to training. We didn't miss trainings. It changed the way we showed up to conferences, because in traditional business, if you go and buy one of those traditional franchises, you're actually contracted to work 50 hours a week. You're contracted to go to all their conferences. You're contracted to do all of their training. So we knew that at the time, so we approached this business the same way. But we went in with the mindset of getting a return on as if we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in the business. And a practical part from that is we reinvested into the business all the time. We reinvested our bonuses, we reinvested in ourselves. You know, people you know, I love speaking to people that can't afford all of the products. That's okay in the beginning, but reinvest in yourself to get on all the products, because you will see a return on your investment when you do that. So I think it's just the mindset of commitment, treat it as a business. Now, you could be only looking to make $500 a month. That could be life-changing for you. But at some level, you still need to commit to it, and at some level, you still need to treat it as a business to get a return of $500 or $1,000 or $10 or whatever you want it to be. So, and that's what I loved about this business, is that we could do that. So, yeah.
I love that. And finishing up with the wild man on the end, and Golay. When we were talking about what you might like to share, and you know, I love this topic. It's around life is hard, right? Choose your hard. Jobs are hard. Having babies is hard. Having no money is hard. You know, being committed is hard. Can you talk to that for us?
I can. This is extraordinary. We have 10 minutes. I thought I'd have 30 seconds
Well, I
left.
didn't know you would all do as you're told.
At the end,
We
I
never
know.
have before.
So
It's crazy.
This is monumental. So
Just
yeah,
10 minutes. You need these.
I'll take
You
a
need your
second.
earphones on. Earphones.
Yeah, I will. We're going close. I get some music, and no, it's such an honour to be in front of everyone. And when you think about life, it is by design hard. And I think the misperception of life is that we have this immediate gratification. You know, it just comes easy. It's plastic. It's fantastic. Instead of going, no, it's hard, because to have the tough conversation and communicate with someone is hard, but to not do it is hard. To have the discipline of finances is hard, but to not do that and end up in debt is hard. You know, to sit in traffic and go to the 9 to 5 and be told what you're worth is hard, but to do this business is hard. So it's really about choosing, well, what's my hard? Because there's no alternate to it. And I think just being comfortable with that state, and the way that you grow through anything is you need to exercise, like Kira said, just going, there's fear there. If I run from it, that's hard. If I go towards it, it's hard. But what's going to give me the life that I ultimately am looking for? And I think to spend time in that, casting that vision, as Shani said, because the vitality that you have in your body is in direct proportion to the vividness of your vision, where you can smell it, you can taste it, you can touch it, you can see it. It's just like, I know Shani's already got Pinterest pictures of this and that. Like, it is, everything is laid out in its detail. So if you haven't done that yet, I would definitely urge you to do that. So commitment means there needs to be a decision. And the word decision comes from incision, which means to cut. And get that picture in your mind of cutting flesh or cutting something really drastic to go, it is not an option to be on that side anymore. And most of us, we don't commit. It's like 1 foot in the pond so I can easily take it back out. And my biggest advice to you is imagine there's an incredible lake in front of you. And on the other side of that lake is everything that your wildest dreams are made of. And picture what that life is like, the relationships that you have, who you are as a person, the house, the car, all that stuff, but really what is the essence of what you want your life to be. And you've got to get to the other side somehow. And instead of dipping the toe in, just run and jump. Because when you land in the middle of the lake and it is hard, it's just as easy to swim to that side as to turn back. Because you've got, as Brian said, you've got, imagine you just invested, you know, your house is leveraged against this, or your child. And you got to go all in. So when you make that decision, and it might be a decision to what you want your life to look like, or a decision about what's the consistency that you need to be. And you know, I think we've all had valuable coaching here from Eric, and he would say, if I followed you around, you know, for the last 30 days, and I broadcast that to the world, would you be happy with the level of commitment that you've had? And I wouldn't be. Right? Okay. to this, but I can be honest. But it's about you having that honest conversation with yourself. And I got the time, so I'm going there. I would encourage you right there where you are, because a decision can be made now or now or now. It's easy to do, it's easy not to do, but that accumulation of where stacking the consistency of I'm just going to say yes. I'm just going to say yes to everything. And your mentor is there right now, just going, I just need one good person to run with. That's all we've all done. Might be one person at a time, but just put your hand up and go, I'm all in. I'm in the middle of the lake, and whatever you ask me to do, I will say yes. Because for me, I would rather have one amazing person to run with than a bunch of people who are fluffy, because it ends up wasting all of their time, all of our time. And that's okay. It might not be for this season. Some of you, you're in the thick of nappies and all of that, and it's great to be part of the community and all of that. But there'll come a point where you go, I want to be up here. I want to make something of this. It just needs a bigger decision in order to do that. So don't put that decision off, because most of you already have an intuition, a voice inside knowing what it is. It's saying to you all the time, let's do this, let's do this. But you're just scared to go, I'm cutting off, that is no longer an option. I just got to go all in. So if you would like, take a moment right now and just close your eyes and just let it flow and make the decision. If you're there in the comments, put in what your decision is, because when you have that public declaration that this is who I am, and it's going to feel weird and awkward and you're going to be embarrassed. We've all fallen on our faces, probably me more than most, but you've got to go through the embarrassment. You've got to fail forward fast. It's not like, oh, once I'm perfect, then I'll do the presentation. Just do it and you'll learn as you go. Over to you guys.
Yay! I love that. Okay, so we've got 4.5 minutes left. And I'm going to do rapid fire. Why won't you ever stop doing this?
Oh, I think in the beginning it was about me and my life and my family's life and creating that. But now I love who people become. Like Lorian is just a prime example. You know, every time he gets on stage, I see that and I think, you remember that guy that came to that coffee shop for the first couple of meetings thinking, is this guy ever going to do it? So the one thing I want to share just with everyone here is that no one here is better than you, and I think often we put leaders up on a pedestal, and you've got to stop putting people that are here, they're just there, they're further along the journey, and I think if you can understand that they're just a bit further along the journey and they made a commitment before you and they were more consistent than you've been, and what can I own, and just get on it.
Yep, I love that. When you are, because I see women cry when you start talking, Kira, because they can relate so much to where you were and where you can tap into. What do you tell them? Because I see them light up. What's the number one thing you'd love to share to just speak to women now who resonate with that?
We think we're the only ones. We think we're the only ones that tell ourselves constantly, we're not good enough, we're not pretty enough, I'm just a mum, I'm too shy, I could never be a businesswoman. But the truth is, every woman on this platform right now, we all have the noise, but we've changed our relationship with that noise. We know that we're listening to it, but it's not truly who we are. And so when you can tap into that and really truly come to know your truth, and that is unlimited potential and absolute worthiness, just by being born you were worthy. And for me, I've been given all of that because of this business. I've come to know my worth, and I really, truly love myself deeply. And I could not say that 5 years ago. I could barely look at myself in the mirror. And so for me, it's giving that gift, like passing that on. There's such a deep sense of responsibility to pass that gift on to as many women as possible. So I think it's just that vulnerability of knowing that I see you and that was me, and I still have the same stuff, I deal with it differently.
Yeah. You have a different relationship with it.
Yeah.
So you're not alone. That's the big one there. I love that.
And if I can do it, whatever you can see in me, whatever you can see in anyone here right now, you can only see it because it's within you.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. That's powerful. And rituals, one ritual every single day. If you could get everyone who is watching saying, yes, I want more, what's the one ritual that you would have them start today and then tomorrow forevermore?
To keep it really simple, it's the priming. If you Google Tony Robbins priming, or if you go to YouTube, almost every morning I've done that routine. If I get off track, that's the first thing I start with again, because it gets me centered. It just gets me back in the zone. And yeah, Tony Robbins priming, I mean, that changed my life. So I could go on and on, but I won't.
I love that. Katie, what would you love to say is the one thing to change where someone is at right now that they can start doing today and tomorrow and forevermore? The one thing that they need to change.
The one thing is their vision needs to grow. And right now, if they feel stuck, it's probably because their vision is only here and they're not thinking about the other people that maybe they're saying no to right now, that they can't help, that they can't make a difference to because their vision hasn't grown beyond that. So if they think about others and get their vision bigger every day, that's amazing.
I love that. And Shani, for someone's most important business activity, because you are just a business animal, what is the number one high-paying activity that you are obsessed with?
It's internal, and it's just asking myself that question every day. What does it look like to go all in? Like, if I was to just throw everything I've got at this business today and I'm going to go all in, what does that look like? And I just execute. So that's mine.
I love it. Number one business tip, 10 seconds.
Show up. Got to be there. You got to be in it to win it. You got to be showing up.
Guys, you rock. I love all of you. I'm so, so proud of us and what we've created together. You have so much heart and vision. Thank you so much, everyone, for showing up. We love you. We appreciate you. And it's all in front of you. Make sure you go grab it.